everybody, we are back. We are going to be discussing the rebel lifestyle and what that means. And really, it just means, doing fucking life on your own terms and living your best life and loving it and doing it the shameless way. So if you are new here, hit subscribe. Make sure to like this video and comment down below something supportive or how you're feeling about this rebel lifestyle. If you're a rebel yourself, stepping into it and doing the damn thing. So we just got done. I hate your phone. I have questions right on our phone because my phone's up here. I don't want to grab my laptop today because it's a lot of work. So we don't got assistance yet, but we will.
Yes.
Apply later. Stay tuned. Yes. But we talked in the last episode about child-free by choice. So just briefly answer the question. Go back, watch that episode if you want to know more. Why you don't want kids?
I don't want kids because I like my sleep. I like my time. I like my money. Yeah. I like to travel. I like to have my me time. I love to really live for me. And I know that if I were to have kids, it's not my life anymore. And at the point of my life right now, I feel like I've been giving, that it's time to nourish me.
I love that.
That's why I don't have children.
I love that. The point about what you said about money, I know I laughed, but I was it's so true. And I don't think a lot of people think about that. Yeah. So if you're contemplating having kids, fun fact, look this statistic up over Christmas when I was reflecting on this almost a year ago now. Wow, it's August. Wow. But the average amount a child costs in 2024 for the next 18 years is $234,000 in the United States. And obviously that can range and change depending on where you're at. But really, they're expensive. They are an expense. So that is valid and true what you said, Boo. I totally agree with what you said too. I like my sleep. That's a big conversation that my partner and I have a lot. We see our friends just low-key walking zombies. They look dead sometimes because they're that exhausted and tired because they're taking care of their kids, they're working, they both have jobs, careers, whatever, and some of them, not all of them, but it's a lot to take on and it's a big responsibility, and some of them are going to be having multiple kids or have multiple kids one during this time. And so we were thinking about that, and when we see our friends and they're like, yeah, I got 2 to 4 hours of sleep last night, and I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, not that good. I'm just oh my God, what the fuck, people? Yeah. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. So that's a big one. And I think everything you said is super fucking valid. And me, it's an energy drainer. Yeah. I feel like I am a parent. I have been a parent. I am a mom. I have done it in the past. Sometimes I feel like I parent fucking people in my life, and I try not to do that. Yeah. And it's also really hard when you're just I need you to stop that. Whatever. Yeah. And I think the big thing is just the emotional capacity and the energy of it all. It takes a lot. You're not just a parent, you're a teacher. You are wearing different hats and different roles at certain times. Sometimes they hate you. Sometimes they love you. Sometimes you're the bank. Sometimes you're the principal or the Disneyland parent, whatever. And I'm just that's shifting so many gears mentally and emotionally. Right. And I'm just that's a lot of things to do. And I don't want to have to do that. And I like my freedom. I like my freedom to be able to get up and go and only really have to take care of myself and my partner at the end of the day. And of course, I'm there for friends and family members and loved ones and showing up for them emotionally, physically for big moments in their life. And I'm also this is nice to have so much time to be able to get up on the weekend, have nothing planned, and be spontaneous or just rest or just take care of myself and not have to really answer to nobody. Yeah. How come you're not married?
How come I'm not married? I don't want. I haven't found someone worthy of my peace. Worthy of my peace.
Say more about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in the work that we do in therapy, we meet a lot of people. Even though I do individual therapy, I don't work with couples.
I do.
I might as well be a relationship. I do relationship work. I don't do couples. I do the internal relationship with someone that they have. And a lot of people are taking on partners or significant others or people who they know are not the best for them, but have been told by society, everybody else, that you need someone. And Early in my days, I did try to do that, and I realized you're bringing me more stress. You're disturbing my peace. You cause me anxiety. Like, how is this helping me? And I realized it's not.
No.
It's not. So to find someone who's compatible with is really hard, especially if you're someone who continues to work on yourself. Not everybody wants to work on themselves, and so when not everybody wants to work on themselves, you can tell how you interact with them and your interactions and what they say to you, and it's like, oh gosh, you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And I realized that a lot of people have not worked on themselves, and as someone who continues to work on myself, I want someone who is always working on themselves, always thinking, always reflecting, always wanting to be the best version of themselves. And a lot of people are not to that point. And so I haven't found someone who has emotionally, intellectually be where I would like them to be, or even where I am. So it's just, those are things, and spiritually, where I am. So yeah, that's why I'm not married. If I wanted to be married, I could find someone like that.
Yeah.
But I don't. Finding someone who you're compatible with is really challenging. The work that you and I do, we see a lot of what happens when you just marry someone for the sake of marrying them because you're scared, fear, scarcity. It's a lot more stress, and it's a lot more emotional work.
Yeah.
And you take on a lot of unnecessary things that if you're true and honest with yourself and you just work on yourself, you would not be where you are if you had just been honest and true and authentic.
Yeah, I think that's all great points. And I think, some people get into relationships and marriages in particular too, and then they are a parent to their partner. I see that dynamic so much, and it's so unhealthy. And then like someone's working on their shit and the other one's not, and it's like, well, you're a spouse, you're not a parent, and you're a partner in these moments. And so you have to really decide and discern whether or not that person's going to get their shit together and actually show you these things. And honestly, I know a lot of people say ultimatums don't work. However, yes, they do, with the intention beneath it and underneath it. My mom gave my dad an ultimatum. She said, okay, Carl, everyone's getting married. What are we doing? I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to have a life with you. So you have 6 months. And the intention was not to control or manipulate or force him into getting married to her. But she was like, you got 6 months, and you either want me as, a spouse, partner in life, your wife, or you don't. And it worked, and they got married and everything like that. And they've been married. Next year will be 40 years. And, John and Julie Gottman, I'm going to call you out a little bit on this one. Your social media a couple years ago said ultimatums are used to control. And you damn well know that all or nothing thinking, especially in social media and posts, when you are a therapist, is not a good thing to reinforce. So I would just say, maybe rewrite that post a little bit, because my shameless truth is ultimatums can work. It's just the intention underneath that. Can people use them to shame, manipulate, and gaslight people into doing things that they want to do? Absolutely. However, one size does not fit all. And ultimatums are really not bad things, because you want people to be honest. And I think when you're not honest in a relationship, you feel like you are being held back and or resenting that other person as well. So I don't even think Julie and John Gottman were going to watch this. But if you ever do, just please say that I truly say that as my shameless truth, and to just be very honest, because this is one of those things where you have a lot of power in your social media. You have a big following. I call you both. Trust me, I love all the work that you do. So please don't take this as a jab or anything like that. And if you do, we can talk about it. Because intention versus impact, I get that. And I call them, the Michael Jordan, or I call them, the couple goals of couples therapy when it comes to research and all the things in the field. And they, a lot of queer folks have been like, well, what are you doing for LGBTQ plus and whatever to research and include us? And they're like, we need more researchers, so you want to come join the team? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I know they get hated on because some people don't feel like their approach is inclusive enough, and they also have a lot of research and a lot of things that they're looking into and have created for the field. So I don't want to discredit them in any way, and I think it's just important to be mindful of that piece of it too. So ultimatums can work. And the part about what you said in regards of there's some people that just maybe are not on my level. Have people ever tried to like say just settle for less, or you're too picky, or
your standards are too high?
Your standards are too high. Yeah.
What are you looking for? Your standards are too high. You're looking for someone who doesn't exist. That's the bare minimum right there. That's the bare minimum. And I think as growing up as a woman, as a girl, I was shamed. I was told a lot, just settle for someone who wants you. You should be happy that they just want you, that they like you. And it was very scarcity, thinking like, oh my God, nobody's going to want me. Nobody's going to want me. And that one person likes me, so I should like them back, even though I know that I don't like them. But who else is going to like me? I came from a culture very much like that, where it was very male-centered and very patriarchy. So we centered a lot about men, and I would get comments from like my grandmas, that generation, where they were like, aren't you afraid that no one's gonna marry you? And I was like, no, there are other bigger fears than I do than
that you have than getting married.
And not getting married at the age of 25.
At the age of 25. Oh my God.
Yeah, because to us, culturally, back in the day, that was old. That was very old. And so a lot of them will put their scarcities and their fear onto me. And I was just like, I have a lot of fears, and that's not one of them.
Don't project. Yeah.
My biggest fear is actually settling down with someone like that. And
settling down and settling.
Yeah, settling.
2 fears.
Just to say I have someone.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit. And I knew that there was more out there for me. So, yeah, I've been told you're too picky, your standards are too high. What are you looking for? Are you a lesbian?
Oh, God.
Because I didn't have a significant other who was, male. So a lot of people are like, it's okay if you are gay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and so I got a lot of that. It's like, no, I just don't want to. And they're like, well, what are you looking for? You're asking for the world. I'm like, am I asking for the world?
And you gaslight yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? If that's the fucking world, I want the fucking world.
Give it to me, baby.
Give
Bring it on.
to me. Yeah. I want the world. I'm not going to settle. And I saw a lot of people around me settle. Honestly, I saw a lot of people around me that settle.
And then you learn from that to not do it.
Right. Just to say that they have a husband, or they have a spouse, or they have kids, to fit into the narrative that everybody else wanted them to check the boxes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to check my own boxes. I'm going to create my own boxes, and I'm going to check my own boxes.
Yeah.
Not the ones of what everybody thinks that I should be checking.
Right.
To meet their needs.
Right. Like, and what does that say if you are projecting that fear of like, oh my God, my daughter or my cousin, she isn't married, or why is that so fucking like nerve-wracking and scary for you? It's not your fucking life, but out. You know what I mean?
Right. To be different.
People don't know how to deal with difference.
Right. Right.
And maybe it's something where they can learn and open their minds more too. And it's so dumb. So yeah, it's like, and I think a lot of times too, when women have standards, they get called picky.
Yes.
When men have standards, they don't get called picky. They're just like, oh, he's a single dude. He's just out there.
He's a bachelor, you know.
He's a bachelor.
He's a bachelor living his best life.
And why can't women just be bachelorettes living their best life if they want to?
We have to settle.
Yeah, fuck that. No.
Yeah, fuck that.
No, fuck settling.
That. Fuck that to settling.
And that's one of the things where you really learn from seeing other people's experiences. And you said, that is not going to be me. That's not going to be my life. And I'm not going to be a wife just to be a wife here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know I wear this ring on my finger, but I am not married or anything like that. And I wear it because y'all, some people out there be fucking creepers. So I'm like, fuck off.
Does that stop?
No. And I just like this on my ring finger. I think it's cute.
It's beautiful.
And so I think when people just assume that you are married, I'm just like, no, like don't just assume that you are just because I wear this on my ring and everything like that. But that's one of the things where, I've been with my partner for 6 years and 3/4. I don't know, math. And people are like, what are you two doing? Like, don't you want a partner in life? And I'm like, I got one. Next, like, what's the next question you have for me?
Yeah.
They're like, but you don't want a marriage? I'm like, I feel like I am married, and I feel like, you know, I don't have an open relationship. I don't have an open marriage. I treat him as my partner.
Mm-hmm.
I have his back. He has my back. We talk about things that are really hard in life. We have difficult conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We know that if we ever are jerks to each other or one another, it's safe for us to leave. And it would really shitty and sucky if we broke up or something like that, right? But we would have the respect for one another to know that, like, hey, if there is something in the way that you are treating me that's not working for me, I'm out. If I'm not happy, I'm out. If we are just not good partners anymore, I'm done. And, you know, like, I think we did an episode on weddings and marriage and are people selfish, like, in the past 40 years. And, you know, we had the one about the children and child free by choice. And do you want a child or do you want to be a parent? I think, do you want a wedding or do you want a marriage? I feel like I already have a marriage.
Yeah.
You know? And people, like, see that as really strange and weird. And him and I are, like, joking, like, oh, if common law was a thing for 7 years of being together, like, people would recognize that. So I'm like, oh, so babe, should we jokingly send, you know, should we post something and then put, like, our Venmo handles on there, like, hey everyone, we're still not getting married or anything like that, but we have a really loving relationship and we've been together for 7 years and we don't have marriage privilege, so we're gonna say, hey, celebrate us because we're common law. Here's Venmo handles, send us a gift because we've been to all your weddings or something like that. But, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, we don't need to have a wedding in order to be in love with one another and support one another, and we don't need a marriage to be able to do that. That's really my viewpoint. And you know, if there was something where, because we do things separate with money and stuff, but we have each other's back with that too. Like, if there was something where he's like, I couldn't pay a bill, I would have his back. If I was like, hey babe, like, I'm in Bali, if there's a bill come up, can you cover it? Yes, I will pay him back. Like, that kind of thing, you know? And I think a lot of times in marriages, you know, some marriages want to have the same accounts for money. Some want separate. Some want both. And I think, you know, I don't really care what you do, just do what's best for you at the end of the day. But I think there's also shame in having separate accounts too. And I also think it's important to protect what you have too with your assets. And when you legally marry someone, money gets in, you see greed, you see selfishness, you see a lot of that. And I think it's scary because then people change, and then if you get a divorce, people change and they make it about money. And I'm also not married because I just really don't need a marriage. I don't need that label. I don't need that title. I'm happy. Like, I'm good, you know? And if we ever did get married, it would be a very chill and fun kind of wedding. And no, not everyone would even be invited to it.
Yeah.
So we have lots of talks about this too, and we check in with each other. And if he wakes up one day and he's like, I want to go get married, and if I'm not ready, I'm not going to say, stay with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, you know, I'm going to say, don't let me hold you back because I don't want that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whatever. So it's one of those things where people don't understand that it's a label that we don't really care about. We don't really need it. And one of the things too, growing up, like, because we talk about privilege a lot, you and I do. And one of the privileges that we talked about in the sex therapy certificate coursework at UW South was monogamous privilege and being in a marriage or couples privilege. And thinking about how people don't realize that married people or people in relationships have it easy. Single people really have it hard. And there's even privilege in posting, you know, that photo of having your wedding day or those pictures of having your baby shower. There's also like ability to have a baby privilege because some people's bodies can't, or there's been miscarriages, or there's been whatever. And people really need to be fucking mindful of what they say to people when it comes to pregnancy, and build an awareness around what to say, what not to say, and what not to ask. Because you don't know that person's body, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know whatever. And so that was one of the things that I was like, wow, it's so fucking true. Like, people that have partners have so much privilege. And then not only that, like, we talked about how heterosexual, so cisgender, heterosexual couples, men and women that are together, have so much privilege in that.
Yes, they do.
And then how gay men have more privilege in that. And then how maybe lesbian women have less privilege. And then minorities. And it's just like all this stuff. And then like different types of things. And so it really made you think about and reflect on the different kinds of privilege that you have and how embedded it gets just in one photo too, and the other types of privileges and isms that are out there as well. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that or think about it, and it's just wild. And you know, people are like, wow, Jackie's been in a relationship forever, but like growing up, like I have had like a couple other partners in my life, and growing up, like if we did the math now, I've been single for longer than I have been in relationships.
Okay.
And so I would always see people in my family run through relationships really fast. And then I would also see divorce on both sides. And I would also see, you know, people kind of come and go in relationships. And the thing was, nobody really talks about it. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to just get married to potentially get divorced. Like, I want to be 100% sure that I want this. And like, no, I don't want this marriage like right now or a marriage right now. Yes, I want to be with my partner. And that's also enough for some people out there. It doesn't have to be so label-y.
I love that. You know, it's funny. You and I talked about this where I said some generations are like, oh yeah, that was my starter marriage. And I'm like, I don't want a starter marriage. You're the starter house, starter marriage. You kind of joke about that. I'm like, no, I don't want a starter marriage.
No.
I want one marriage and I want to do it right versus...
You want it to last.
What?
You want it to last.
Yeah, you want it to last. Yeah, I want it to last. And I'm not going to keep trying to find someone to complete me. And a lot of people are trying to find someone to complete them because we've been taught by like the media and everybody else that your purpose in life is to find someone to complete your life. And if you don't have a completed life and you keep searching, no one is ever going to complete you. No one is ever going to complete you.
Yeah. And one time you said you have to complete yourself.
Yeah.
And if you don't complete yourself and you're not happy with the relationship with yourself, then how the hell are you going to be happy in a marriage? And the relationship with yourself is so important. It's the number one that you have in your life. And people might be like, oh, so selfish. No, it's the fucking shameless truth. You go through everything with yourself throughout life. And that's also with or without past exes, partners, parents, friends, people that come and go. And so you really have to honor yourself and complete yourself with that too. Let's talk about some other stuff. How come you don't own a house?
Well, a house is hella expensive. Fucking expensive. You know, there's a lot of responsibilities in a house, and if someone had asked me even a year or two ago if I wanted a house, I would have said, oh yeah, I want to settle down, Twin Cities, you know, just have this life. Now when people ask me, how come you don't have a house, or what are your plans, I say, you know what, my life has changed so much, I don't know. I want to embrace the life that I've always wanted. A house is great. A house will keep me, just me, stuck. And I want to explore the world. I mean, we're here in Bali. I mean, would I be able to be in Bali if I have a house? Maybe. But would I have the freedom as I do now? Probably not. And I realize, again, being a caregiver all my life, this is the first time in my life where I can be like, I can pay rent and travel in Bali and still be okay. I don't have to worry about selling my house. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about extra things that will keep me tied down, especially if I want to live the life that I plan for.
I love that, and it's so true. It's just like that freedom of being a renter, and people literally like renter shame too. And I was talking to my aunt about this. Hi, Auntie Marianne, if you ever see this, I love you. She was like, why do people shame so much about that? I was like, girl, thank you. Like, I don't know. And for context, she's also like not married. She's been with her partner since I was like fucking 10. And they had like, I think they did like RV, or maybe not RV, the fancier one. Like they It was a Cadillac kind. I don't know. They're
Cadillac, okay.
Like the Cadillac kind of RV.
Oh, okay.
But they were traveling like around the world in retirement and doing this stuff, and like that's really cool. And she doesn't have kids either or anything like that. And we had a conversation about this, and she said, you know, you really have to know for yourself whether or not you feel like you would be missing out on anything if you didn't want kids or a house or a marriage. And if you don't think so and you're happy, that's fine. Mm-hmm. That's enough. And I'm like, it's so fucking true.
Yeah.
And yeah, like for me, like having a house sounds exhausting. I'm gonna have a house when I make millions and millions and trillions of dollars. Yeah. And people can just take care of it while I can still like get up and jet and go wherever I want to go, not have that be something that holds me back. Because people, when they get retired, sometimes they live a bi-coastal lifestyle, or sometimes, like I know younger people are doing it now more and more, and paying double rent and figuring it out, or only doing month-to-month leases or renting out space, whatever, and living the bi-coastal lifestyle. But they need people in both areas to come over and come help and do all these things. Quite frankly, if you have a lot of friends and family members in your life that are married and have kids or pets, do you think they're going to be fucking coming to help you? Probably not. And so it's just one of those things where you can't always rely on people. So you have to learn to rely on yourself and complete yourself and make a plan for yourself. Like if you do want a house, everything like that, totally cool. You do you at the end of the day, and it's like it is a responsibility.
It is,
and it's big. Yeah. You open your phone because I don't remember the next question and the screen locks and all the damn things. So we've talked about children. Watch the other episode. We've talked about
we don't have
having. How come you don't want kids? How come you're not married? How come you don't own a home? Or, you know, how come you don't have a pet?
So I love pets, kind of like children. I love children. I love pets. And yet I don't want any of my own right now because I view pet ownership as forever. I'm not a half-ass pet owner. If I am a pet owner, I'm going all in. I'm going to give that pet the best life that I can, like a child. And to do that, you have to be very committed. And even when I puppy sat, dog sat, I'm a good auntie, you know. I take them out to walk. I take them out. I'm like, this is a lot of work.
You had to chase after the
dog. I had to chase after the little shit, you know. I'm like, this isn't my fucking dog, and I'm chasing after that shit.
You got that cardio in.
Yeah, got that cardio in. I'm like, it's like me babysitting. I'm like, this isn't my kid. That little brat is running away, you know, kind of like that.
She voiced me. She was like, Jackie, this fucking weekend, this dog ran away, and I run and chase after it. She's like, oh my god. She's like, I'm so tired.
I know, it was like a summer hot day, and
it was a fucking hot day. I remember that weekend.
Day. Yeah, and you know, when it's hot out in the Midwest, we don't want to be out, you know.
Not always, not unless you're by a lake or water.
Yeah, exactly. And so to take a dog out 2 to 3 times a day, that's a lot of work. You know, that's a lot of work. It's, you know, you have to take them to the vets. You have to do all of that. So you have to be very intentional and say, this is a commitment. I just can't be like, oh, I don't want this anymore. I'll take them to, you know, the shelter. I'm not that type of person. I am fully committed. If I'm not fully committed, I will not do it. I'm a 100%. I'm not a 50-50.
Yeah, you don't half-ass anything. That makes sense for sure. And so it's like, why do it if it's going to be half-assed? It's not worth it. And if you can't give it your all, it's just not important. It's not a priority. And if it's not a priority, then it's like, don't do it in the first place.
Yeah.
And if your mind changes, it changes. And like, I totally agree. Like in the other episode, I talked about like, if we had a puppy, we would have to have a puppy plan. We'd have to have all these babysitters, all these things. Like pets are lovely. You know, animals are lovely. Trust me, they're in my Instagram algorithm all the time. Like, I send my partner puppies like at least a couple times a week.
Yeah, I love kittens.
If not days.
I love cats.
Yeah,
I've been asked by my niece, when are you going to get a cat? She's been asking me that for the last 5 years.
Yep.
I said, I don't know. It's like me. I'm not ready. She goes, it's a cat, auntie. I'm like, it's a cat.
Yep.
It's a cat, you know? So, you got to be committed.
And someone at a networking group and meeting that I was at, I'm forgetting her name, so I apologize. I would shout you out if I remembered. But she talked about, she works as like a dog owner and education about like dogs and everything, and how if you commit to a dog, it's literally a part of your family. And she was like, me and my husband, we don't stay at different hotels when we travel. If our dogs can't come with us, we won't go. If we don't have patios that take dogs at like restaurants and stuff, we don't go. And so she was like, we literally plan our trip around our dogs. I was like, that's intense. That's like a whole new level. But I was like, I understand that because it's a part of your family and like cute little puppies. So what do you think? Because this is kind of rebellious, all these things, and people don't get the whys behind it. So we talked about whys about different types of things and things like that. But what do you think with this rebelliousness, right? Like, what does true happiness really mean for you, or success mean for you? Like, is it being able to say, like, I don't need all these things. I can want them and they're great. And I also, like, want to put myself first at the end of the day. Like, what is success and true happiness to you, I guess?
To me, success and true happiness is owning my time. Owning my time, getting to choose when I want to do things, when I don't want to do things. And to me, that's like true happiness, and that's success to me. And I think people are afraid of this because this is something so new. Like, you and I talked about this in a previous episode, about being child free, and it's something new because we've all been told that we had to follow this path. Everybody had to follow this path, and it's for everyone. And once you do it, you will be happy. And a lot of people did, and they're like, I did this. They told me I'll be happy if I, went to school, got married, had kids, bought the house, had my, dog. They told me I would be happy. Why am I not happy? And so a lot of us are figuring out, saying, you know what? That's what they wanted us to do, but what do we want? We've never been asked what we want. That's what society, that's what our mothers or fathers or the church or family somebody wants. Yeah, family members. That's the culture, that's the religion, that's what they want and expect. And for us to finally say, what do I want? It's very shame. How dare you think that you are better and you can think for yourself? So, so I think to be successfully to be successful or to be happy, you have to figure out what it is that makes you happy. I know that for me, it's about my time. Because your time is currency. Your time is currency. Your time is everything. You get to pick and choose when you want to do things. And to me, that is like the ultimate flex.
Yeah, that is ultimate flex. Like being the boss of your own life and being able to tell people, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And like being able to call out the shame and advocate for the lifestyle that you have. And I think a lot of times, I could be wrong, I think people secretly want it.
Yes.
And they're just mad that you did it.
They're mad that you did it, and they're mad that they didn't realize they had a choice.
Yes.
They always had a choice,
for what they
but
wanted.
They didn't fight for it, and now they see us and other people doing it. They project all that anger onto them and say, how dare you get to choose? I didn't get to choose. But ultimately, you did get to choose, but you chose that.
Yeah, and then they want to put that anger and blame and shame and resentment onto you when really they resent themselves at the end of the day. It's a tricky little slippery slope of an emotion there, that resentment. Yeah. Because that's what I found. Anytime that I said or felt resentment towards another person, it was because I created that, and that was my personal responsibility. Yeah. And then when I finally learned that lesson, I was like, oh, shit. I was just really mad at myself here. Yeah. And some people don't always have those awareness skills or the skills where they can get them and work on it and learn on it and reflect and be like, damn, I said that, I did that. Really? Oh my gosh. I need to take responsibility for those actions.
Yeah.
So owning your time, your freedom, being able to do it, whatever the hell you want. I totally agree. Like, that's what true happiness and success is for me. It is like, being able to just be free to do whatever the hell I want to do and not have to answer to nobody. And I think it's also protecting that and really being aware of and mindful of and intentional about, like, when people want to come in and, I don't want to say disrupt that peace, but when they want last minute things, that feels like it's a disruption of peace. Yeah. And I have to be very discerning of, like, this is way too last minute, and set the boundary of, I can't do that today or this week. How about next week or next month or the following week, or let's plan it out a little bit. And I think a lot of people just think, oh, well, if you don't have these things or these responsibilities, you're so free. No, I'm really not. Like, I'm really not. I'm working on myself in ways that you don't see and you don't understand, and the things that I am doing and how I'm also showing up for others in my life as well. And I feel like true happiness is just being able to be yourself. It's being your shameless, authentic self, and also calling out shame. And consistently doing your personal growth work on that, and also sharing that with other people of how they've shamed you and how that intention, you know, is not the same as impact, and how that impacted you for your life and whatever. What do you think is important about your livelihood?
It's hard. I think people see us in Bali and think, oh, they're living their life. It must be nice. It is really nice. I'm not gonna lie. However, taking a risk and having a life that you and I chose is very hard. Not everybody can do it, and I'm not trying to say we're all that. But it takes a lot of inner work to say, you know what, I don't want to do the rat race anymore. I want to own my time, own my freedom, and our livelihoods. I think people think like, oh, it must be so nice. There's the behind.
You really don't see the mental work.
Yeah, you don't see the mental work. You don't see what goes behind.
You don't see saying no to people and other things that you spend money on, or like rejecting on,
like I've gotten a lot of rejections, so many rejections that it's just part of like, okay, all right, it's part of my growth now. It's just part of, okay, you know what am I going to learn from this? It's almost like dating in a professional setting.
Yeah, you mean rejection in career opportunities?
Yeah, career opportunities.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to collaborate with you. Yeah, some people don't want to connect with you.
Some people collab with you and then they unfollow you and then they refollow you. Y'all know who you are. I know who you are too. Yes, I'm a salty bitch about it. But I'm just like, what is that about? Like, you collab with me and then you unfollow me and then you refollow me. It's like, are you trying to use me? Are you trying to creep on me? And it's like this, you care to know rather than know to care kind of energy. And so that also says a lot about people in business as well, that we also have to deal with a lot of sketchy people at times too. And some people might want to use us for our knowledge and our skills and our expertise. And again, we're not saying like we're the shit or any of that. No, it's just a lot of people also just want stuff out of you because of this field that we are in. Yeah. And it's also not okay.
Yeah. I mean, we are in a very demanding field right now where everybody wants to have our skills, our knowledge, and our expertise, and yet not everybody wants to pay for it.
They want our energy without that currency exchange, that energy exchange, that what we truly need in order for our business and for us to keep doing this. It's like, you can say you love it and you support it, but do you support it by putting your money where your mouth is?
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
That's the big thing.
And that's one of the things too, like, and even with, you talked about getting a lot of rejection from people too as well. Yeah, I've gotten rejected a lot about like just even networking with people, or like saying, hey, like, no, I don't want this job, recruiter, like, send clients to me though. That's that, right? But I've also, where was I going with that? Rejection, networking. What was I gonna say?
Yeah, I think a lot of rejection. Like, people are shocked that we're able to put ourselves out there. And I'm going to use your shameless. Like, when you do this, at times you have to be very shameless at promoting yourself. And not everybody likes that. And I had to get over that fear of judgment and sounding stupid. And yeah, you're going to have some people that don't like what you say. Some people are going to embrace what you said. But you really have to be shameless, put yourself out there, put your work out there, and put your brand out there. And not everybody's comfortable with that. And a lot of people are like, how do you do this? Oh my God, I could never. And I would say, not to be arrogant, but that's why you're there and that's why I'm here.
Because Pai has done her work on this shit and consistently does her work. And if you want to be where she's at, you have to do your work and grow and work on it. And if you're a helper in this field, I don't care if you're a therapist, I don't care if you're a coach, I don't care if you're a consultant, I don't care how you help people, right?
Yeah.
But if you can't put yourself out there and connect with people just on a human level, then that's the thing. Like, how are you going to connect with people in your business then? How are you going to build those relationships? And that's a big part too, where, you know, sometimes you do need to invest in a mentor and seek help with that. And it's okay at the end of the day. Sometimes you outgrow some mentors. Sometimes you stick with them. Sometimes it's for something brand new. And just know that, again, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. If you're saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, whatever, like, there's so many people that, you know, I've told a handful, I would love to go to Bali, or, oh my God, that's on my bucket list, blah, 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 whatever. And Pai and I want to host a retreat out here one day. And with those women or those people, men as well, too, depending on what we do, would you put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. You can. It's will you.
Yeah.
And some people will hold themselves back and say, I could never. Well, yes, you could. It's not that you couldn't. It's not that you can't. It's that you won't. So how are you self-sabotaging, you know, being at this freedom, kind of abundant mentality and mindset versus scarcity? And the thing is, wealthy people, a lot of them have poor mindsets, and poor people, a lot of times, have wealthy mindsets. And there's a continuum of in between, and it's a consistent personal growth of things. So we've talked about a lot of different things that are not, you know, typically normal, and even like owning your own business is not the norm. Like you go to school for some people, or you just get a job right away, and then you're like 9 to 5, and it's just this cycle.
401k, and then pension if you have one,
and then you burn out, and then you're mad, and then you're dealing with medical bills, doctors, whatever, because of like maybe your work being a big ass trigger for you, and not actually working on yourself through those things. So when it comes to all the things that we talked about, like, what inspiring words of wisdom do you have for people that are getting shamed for, you know, not having kids, that are getting shamed for having their own business, that are getting shamed for not owning a home, that are getting shamed for not having a pet, that are getting shamed for not being married, that are getting shamed for just even traveling if that's their priority, like, that are just getting shamed for living their best life? What would you tell those people?
I would tell those people to tell the other people to say fuck off. Just fuck off. If they don't pay your bills, if they have nothing to do with your life decisions, if they don't watch your kids, watch your pets for free, pay your bills, honestly, they have no business in your business. So, yeah, tell people to fuck off. Really tell people to fuck off and really own it. Like, just own it. Own your decisions, own your feelings, own your emotions, own your goals, own your intentions. Once you start owning them and just say, I'm going to do this, I'm serious, I'm going to be consistent, I'm going to show up for myself, I'm going to believe in myself, I'm going to bet on myself. You have to really have a wealthy mindset, and it's all about your mindset. Where you and I talk about, oh yeah, it's so delusional, but yeah, you have to be very.
That's how you manifest trips to Bali.
You manifest. You have to believe in yourself like you never believed in yourself before. Because people will love to tell you you're full of shit. Keep dreaming, and you gotta say, I will keep dreaming. I will keep doing this. And once you do it, once you get there, people are gonna ask, how'd you do it? And you're like, I did it. I did it because I believed in myself. I showed up, and I was consistent. So. Own it. Like I said, you gotta own it. Own whatever it is that you're feeling, and own your true self.
I love all that. Yeah, just literally being honest with yourself, owning it, owning like what it is you do want to do in life, what you don't want to do in life. Telling people to fuck off. I would definitely say for this question, you know, find people out there for a community. Find people out there that are maybe in similar shoes, setting situations, read their books, listen to their podcasts, learn from them, hire them, as like from the business coaching realm standpoint, or just even if you're trying to make a big leap and you have a lot of fears, it's going to be fucking scary. And I can tell you, it's going to be fucking worth it. You can do it. You just have to choose to actively do it and know that you are going to be consistently growing, and it's honestly going to be an amazing experience. For those that, don't want kids or don't want a home or don't want a dog or don't want the 9 to 5 or just, any of this stuff, right? Like, I say keep it short, sweet, shameless. Like, no thank you. You can just like laugh it off and just say, okay, changing subjects. Okay, next. Or I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about this. I'm over this conversation. Like, so take any of those one-liners, like shameless comebacks. That's what I do. Like, use what I say and really just put it out there. You don't have to be sassy about it. You don't have to yell about it. You don't have to do any of that. But just tell people, like, if they keep pushing your buttons, hey, I've said it once. I don't want to have to say it. I'm saying it twice. I'm not saying it a third time. I'm going to leave if this is something where I don't feel listened to, I don't feel heard, I don't feel validated, because your feelings are valid too. Just because you're not doing the traditional route in life and you're like, yeah, no, fuck this shit, I'm over it, I don't want to do this. You don't have to. People do have to respect you and your boundaries. And I don't hate to say it, you will lose people because they won't understand your decisions that you're making for yourself. And just because they're not the best decisions for them doesn't mean that they aren't the best decisions for you. So, any final thoughts with this?
No, I think it's a great episode and a great topic to talk about. And again, don't let other people's scarcity be your scarcity.
Absolutely. So this is the Shameless Truth. Make sure that you like and be supportive in the comments below, shamelessly supportive, and let us know how you're feeling about this. If you have felt shamed for just doing something that was different, that, we covered maybe 5 or 6 different topics in this, but there's a lot of different ways we get shamed in different settings and situations and stuff. You mentioned the part about like, oh, are you a lesbian, and people like shamed you and just like then also question your sexuality. And there's so much shame in that, and there's no shame in being queer whatsoever. So it's just like, but there's probably so many conversations and episodes that we could do on that Peggy and I can talk about. Yeah. So anyway, I digress. But really, really, really take care of yourselves when you're working on these goals, this mindset, the life that you are creating for yourself, stepping into your destiny, and everything like that too. So again, hit subscribe, turn those notification bells on, like this video, help us grow, and
bye from Bali and own it.
Stay shameless.